Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Foresight TV. I know this looks a little different on a Friday. I am in Orlando, Florida, going to be attending the ACA NCAL conference starting on Sunday morning, which is why my background, I'm actually sitting out on the patio enjoying the heat and the humidity at the condo I'm staying at. And I want to start out before we get started. I've got an amazing guest today. I'm so excited about this conversation. Mo is one of the most passionate people I've ever talked to in the industry. She's doing amazing things with AI. You're going to learn all about it. But first off, I just want to say thanks so much for watching Foresight TV. I am so glad you're joining us for this particular broadcast. As you know, we are committed to improving the lives of people who live and work in senior living. It's what drives us every day. So we'd love to hear from you about what you're doing to improve the lives of residents and team members. And we'd also like to learn how we can serve you better as we produce content. And actually, maybe you've got a story could be a guest like Mo's a guest here, because you've got something amazing to talk about. So in addition to Foresight TV, we do all sorts of other great additional leadership content. So we've got LinkedIn posts, we've got the Foresight podcast that Rachel leads, the Tech Tuesday that Jordan leads. And the thing that's really our signature, our flagship, is the Foresight website, where every day we publish new thoughtful leadership content. And if you're sort of social media, you're missing out. There's tremendous resources that can transform your organization. So it's all free. It's easy to subscribe to. You can see the QR code on the screen. There's also a link in the chats below. And lastly, two things. First off, I want to say I appreciate your passion for the senior living industry. Finally, and this is almost redundant for this particular talk, but we are so excited about our first ever conference. I don't know if I like the conference. Maybe event is actually a better term, but it's the Foresight AI Lab. It's going to be a half day, a full day, a half day, and it's all things AI in senior living. So this will be a deep dive. You'll have people who are doing amazing things like Mo and the stuff she's going to hear about, that are going to come and teach you the things that they've spent months or years learning, so that when you go back to your organizations, your communities, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting where they're leaving off, and your AI will transform in senior living in ways that are just absolutely amazing. I've talked way too long, and so now let's do our intro, and we will be on with the show. Hey guys, Steve Moran here. Mo, welcome. Let's start with who you are and what you do.
Hi, Steve. Thank you for having me today. My name is Mo Carr, and I am the administrator and owner of Avendele Assisted Living in Roseville.
And you have how many homes?
I have three. I have three residential homes, 6 residents per location. And we specialize in cognitive impairments, dementia, senior care.
Great. So I want to actually talk a little bit I want to do a little storytelling. So Lori Orloff, who is well known in the senior living space as a tech guru who puts out just some amazing content. She reached out to me a few weeks ago about I don't know if it's a white paper or something, some big document she's working on about AI in senior living. And she was interviewing a whole bunch of people. And so she wanted to interview me. And we were talking, and I was asking her about who else I should talk to. And she said, oh, I know this woman. I met this woman, like amazing stuff. She's got 3 6-bed buildings in senior living. And I sort of thought, what can somebody who's only doing 3 6-bed buildings teach us? Well, I have to tell you, Mo is doing things that are remarkable. They are things that are way more sophisticated than big, huge and medium-sized organizations are going to do. She's got things to teach us all. So Mo, I'd actually like to start by asking you, how did you get started in this AI journey thing at all?
Well, I've always had an interest in technology. Just a natural interest, no background at all. And someone introduced my first intro was ChatGPT. Someone mentioned, "Have you downloaded an app?" And I'm like, "No." And they were like, "Well, you should try it," because I'm a creative as well. So I was thinking about using it in the creative space, like design and all. And I downloaded it, and I was just playing around with it and doing some research. And I noticed that it helped me. My initial was it caused me to think outside of the box. It gave me suggestions and things I didn't think of, approaches to creative design. And then I considered how can I use this in my other life, my other world. And so that was my first intro, was using ChatGPT in a creative space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about how you're actually using AI in your senior living organization, because this is just it's mind-boggling, honestly, what you're doing.
Yes, yes. So I use AI to capture information, doing assessments. Let's say I meet a family for the first time and I'm having that conversation and I'm asking questions about history, about day to day. Let's say it's what mom's like, what time she wakes up, how does she like, what time does she like to take her showers? That information that helps you build that care plan. Well, I use an AI app to capture that information, and then that app actually takes that information and identifies subjective and objective. It separates that information. It creates next steps. And those next steps could be interventions, supervision. It also identifies alerts, what we need to look for, because let's say this person has history of congestive heart failure, right? So it tells you, hey, you may want to be mindful of the sodium intake. It's phenomenal. It captures all the information and provides you next steps. Now, that's one way that I use AI.
Okay, what else?
Okay. So the other way that I use AI is I built a bot that that I'm able to provide data, and it takes that data and it's able to tell me with that data that I input, it helps me build a care plan, and it absolutely shortens that process. How long it takes to do that? Before using this, it would take average about 4 hours or so, but after using this bot and this app, it has shortened it to about 30 minutes, like from beginning to end. Now we trust. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I'm
Okay,
just saying
okay.
that's cool. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you trust it, but you still review it. So it captures the information, and again, it's able to tell you what those next steps are. Create fall risk assessments. I'm able to enter the data. In entering the data, it'll tell you, hey, this person has a high fall risk. Because this person has this high fall risk, you need to focus on interventions and those supervisions to reduce the chances that they will have a fall. Yeah, that's one way.
Okay, so this is mostly done at the admission process. What about on an ongoing? Are you also using it to do like reassessments of those kinds of things?
I absolutely do. So I use it to do reassessments. I use it daily. Let's say if there's a change in that residence, the way let's say if there's a new behavior. So what I do, I can use my bot to go in and enter what that change is, and it can help me to identify the root cause. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, it prompts me to add additional information to help me identify what the possible root cause is. And then with that, I can take that information and follow up with the family member and the clinician to say, hey, this is what we're seeing. This is what we're able to identify. And I'm not 9 out of 10 times, it has been accurate. It is outstanding. Yeah.
So I think, and part of this is framed by our earlier conversation. You're actually finding that the AI tools will actually help you figure out things that even their doctors can't figure out, right?
Absolutely, and quicker. It's allowing us, it takes, because of its access to data, it's in real time, it's able to pull all of that information, what would take us hours, days, weeks to do, okay? It's able to do in minutes. It reduces the amount of time it takes to research, especially within our community. I'm not a clinician, I'm an administrator. So my approach to it is more of a layman's, not a specialist in that regards, right? In that regard. So it's able to provide me with information that I would not normally, verbiage and information that I would not be used to, and that I would not know which direction to go.
Yeah.
And because of that, I can provide that feedback to the clinician and they understand the language. It provides the data to me in the language that the clinician understands. And go ahead.
No, well, actually, I do have a question relative to that.
Okay.
So, how are you? Are like the clinicians okay with this, or do they get upset that you're sort of
not at all?
Doctor?
They love it. They love it because they're able. The reason why they love it is because it's an aid to them as well, right? So it reduces the amount. Well, I'm not going to say, because I'm not a clinician, so I can't say if it reduces the amount of time it would take them to identify, but it gives them more data, more information up front, so they can consider that and make that decision and say if it's in alignment with what they are thinking, or the path that they would take as well. And the feedback has been only positive, no negative at all. It's been all positive.
Yeah, I just love this so much. So I got sick a few weeks ago. This has been about 6 or 8 weeks ago, and it just kind of a low grade fever, and it wasn't going away. And so I made an appointment to go see my physician, and he was actually out of town, so they had somebody else who was covering for him that I'd never met before. And so I walked in and described what was going on to her, and she said, "Well, just a minute, let me review your records." And she must have spent 10 minutes sort of going through the history. And I think she picked up everything she needed, but as I was sort of sitting there and she was sort of talking as she was reading, so it was nice and interactive and all that. But I thought, it would be so easy for her to maybe miss something important because she's only got this tiny sliver of time. But the other thing I kept thinking was, if she had an AI tool, she could just say, "Tell me about Steve's last 10 years of history and what might be important to his chief complaint," and she'd get this thing, and it would have made her life a lot easier, and it would have kept her from missing things. I mean, I don't think she missed anything in this particular case, but the possibilities are just mind-boggling.
They are, absolutely. That's the way that I use it as well. So being an administrator and overseeing the care and ensuring that we are following through, and our approach is person-centered always. So because it's person-centered, the bot that I built, I included that in the configuration, and so that our approach is person-centered. So it captures that when it gives me that data, that because this is our approach, it captures that. Mm-hmm.
So how do you input data? Do you type it? Do you speak, or what is that like?
I do both. I do both, and I upload. So you can if using ChatGPT and the other app, Freed AI, that I use, I actually speak to it. And that saves a lot of time. And so when I use ChatGPT, it's conversational. when I use Freed AI, it's more just it's recording what I say and then giving me the data.
And then, so when you use Free AI, you have a list of sort of pre-structured questions that you use to make sure you capture all the data.
Yeah,
I don't want to get too much into details. That's about as far as I want to go. Otherwise, because you need, if you want to really learn how to do this, you need to come to the Foresight AI lab where Mo's going to do a whole presentation on exactly how you can do this. So
yes.
I know I'm not going to give too much away, but does it ask a list of, do you use a list of structured questions?
I do when I use the Freed AI app. So when I use ChatGPT, the bot, it's already programmed. It already have prompts that prompt me. Yeah. For
So wouldn't it be cool? I don't know whether this would work or maybe you even tried this, but with the bot, wouldn't it be cool if you had somebody a family member who came to you and said, well, I don't really know, but I've got this AI chatbot. I'm going to just email it to you. It's going to ask you a series of questions, and then we'll be able to figure out whether or not this is a good fit. That could be really interesting as a marketing tool, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It wouldn't be that hard to do.
No, it absolutely would not. I have shared my bot with many, and it is, and everyone is just, when they use it, they're just as excited as I am. I'm trying to contain myself right now. I'm so full and I'm so excited about, because I know in real life, in real time, how it has impacted and changed my day-to-day operations.
Yeah. So let's actually. Well, I'm going to actually talk a little bit more. Let me do this first. I wanted to actually dig into a little bit. I mean, do you feel like there's economic benefit to you in doing this? But before I get that, are there any other places where you're using AI in your organization right now that we haven't touched on?
Yes, my staff training. And so, okay. So what I use is, again, another bot that I
Yep.
built, and I'm able to upload information, let's say for a caregiver, and I'm able to upload a credential. I identify their credential, their educational level, also their metrics. If I have metrics or if I have some type of history there, work ethic, work history, and I upload, and I'm able to identify. It tells me based on their skill set and their experience and how they perform. It tells me, it creates training. I have a training bot, and it creates training for that person at that level. Because you wouldn't teach someone that graduated high school on the same level as someone that has 2 additional years of specialization in caregiving, whereas be it in geriatrics or what have you, your approach will be different. The language is different. So the bot actually gives me the data, the training, so they can eat it. I'm not giving a steak to a baby, right? So that's what this bot is able to do.
Yeah. So you'll be interested in this. One of the I'm not going to tell you who it is yet because we haven't signed the contract. I can tell you, but off air, but not publicly. But one of the sponsors we've got coming for AI has got for the AI labs has got a tool that they're still training, but it actually does sales training, and so it'll do sales interactions with you, because we know that the best way to get better at sales is to do role playing.
Yes.
But role playing is just brutally terrible, unfun thing to do, right? I used to do role playing when I was a volunteer ski patrol, and they'd set up these scenarios, and we'd have to come in and then figure out what was wrong and figure out how to treat them. And they had some really serious things, like somebody was having major bleeding that was covered up. And so you'd go in and you'd do this, and pretty soon the trainer would look at you and said, your patient just died. And you feel terrible about it, right? And then you're facing off with a human being. So if you can do that with a bot, then it becomes so much better. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else you're doing?
Let's see. Oh, there's a lot I'm working on.
Okay, good. Tell me.
Yes, there's a lot of possibilities. There's no limit. I'm actually working on building bots to identify ways to improve, like for me, for as a business owner. And I have the 3 residential communities, so of course budgets are important, right? So a budget is important, be it day-to-day operations for the business in whole. So I'm built a bot to identify if to help me identify what I need to adjust to stay within the budget. It actually takes me like it actually identifies, hey, this is how much you're spending in this area, right? And what it does is all I do is upload an Excel spreadsheet
Yep.
with my P&Ls, and it tells me, hey, instead of me having to do it again, an administrator, do it myself, it say, hey, last month it does a comparison. I have it done quarterly. I have it set up, built that it identifies quarterly what area I spent the most in and what I need to do to adjust that. It gives me suggestions on what I can implement to improve or to lower the budget in that area, right? Let's say if it's groceries or supplies, then it'll say, hey, you may want to do this, and this will be impactful. And this, yeah.
So I love this, right? So I'm thinking you could take a food inventory and or your food bills, right, from your food supplier, and you could
Absolutely.
upload those and say, where are the places where we could find substitution or do better on this, and it would give you suggestions that would save you money. I hadn't even thought about that.
Absolutely. And then staffing. I'm sure others within the industry, staffing and overtime and the importance of managing that, right? And it's able to identify the who and how many hours of overtime and what adjustments I can make, whether it's a new hire, whether it's creating shorter um, um, shifts. Like it gives me suggestions on how to improve that, reduce that overtime. And so in every area of your business, there's a way to use AI. And I'm exploring from marketing to managing day-to-day operations, also budget, finance. In every aspect can be assisted. You can improve your day-to-day managing your business, running your business with AI.
So, as you know, we've got a big part of doing any event is figuring out the right hotel venue and trying to make
Yes.
sure they don't swipe as much money because they are very predatory. And if you go to a hotel and say, "Oh, I'm going to go do this event with 200 people and I need these things," they're going to give you this contract that's all in the favor of the hotel, everything about it. And there are people out there who are experts at this and they know how to negotiate it, but I'm not. And I do have somebody, Pat Sylvia, who's doing an amazing job. But for her, she ran a conference that was pretty well established, and so they had good parameters. And because this is a new conference, we need to have some more flexibility. And so we got this proposed contract from the hotel,
Mhm.
and I thought I just need some help in figuring out, whether it's fair and if there are places where we might negotiate. So I uploaded it to ChatGPT. I said, go review this contract, tell us the things that we should be concerned about, telling us where maybe we can get some savings. And it came back with like a dozen really, really helpful things, which we made some changes to that because again, it always takes the human interaction, right? So we
Right.
took a look at that and then we've sent it back to the hotel. And ChatGPT, I'm sure, will end up helping us, make it better for the attendees, save us maybe $10,000-$20,000. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a segue into how does it impact my budget? So
yes, yeah.
yes. So think about this. Like I am an administrator that happens to be the owner. But what if I was an administrator that worked for a corporation? Okay, I didn't work for myself, and what it does is what it has the how it has helped me is that my administrative tasks, just preparing and ensuring we're compliant with state guidelines, rules and regulations. What AI has helped me do is identify, take what I'm responsible for. I'm able to do it in a timely, better than timely fashion. Whereas before, it would take me hours. Okay, so again, for a care plan from beginning to end, that's 4 to 5 hours. I went from 4 to 5 hours to about average 30 to 45 minutes, because the majority of my time, I've already captured all the information. And so most of my time is spent just reviewing the information. And because I'm already familiar and I know I have trained and know what I want, it gives me exactly what I want. So that's one way, and that's saving time. And anytime it's time, is money, right? It's the same thing with the caregivers. Whenever you're able to identify the areas that they need development, they need to train on, they need to improve that skill set, whatever that is. When you have AI, it actually it actually decreases the amount of time that you have to dedicate to training. They're able to get on the floor and work more sooner, or they're able to meet a care need that they weren't necessarily had the background or the training in, but you're able to train them. So it impacts the caregivers, that time spent as well. And that's financial. That's time is money. So it's the same, it impacts them the same. Yeah.
So I'm thinking that, this wouldn't necessarily apply to you specifically, but, every time I have a conversation with somebody about what they're doing with AI, just keep thinking of new things. And as you said earlier, I don't think there's hardly any place in senior living where AI can't make a huge benefit. And actually, I want to talk a little bit before we get done. Let me finish this off, but I want to talk a little bit about cost. And I just telling you that so I don't forget. So, one of the things that I'm thinking as you're talking is that if you've got a multi-site building, you're going to have executive directors and often other department heads who are expected to create reports every month about just the status of things in the community, right? And so they create these reports. Typically, they're very structured format. They get sent to corporate office. Somebody's probably supposed to review those things, but probably mostly they don't get reviewed very well because people are busy and it doesn't feel like it's that productive. But imagine that were done all with using AI, and it were sent into an AI, and then the AI went in and just said, okay, here are all the list of things that we looked at for these communities. These are all fine. These need attention. We're seeing these trends, and this stuff I don't know what to do with, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's it. And I use AI to identify trends as well.
Yeah.
Steve, I'm trying to contain myself so I don't share quite.
Yeah, I don't want you to give away too much away, and you got to come to the conference to get it. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So one of the things I actually want to talk about is actually two things, and we've only got about 2 minutes left, but I think these are both good ways to really to do this. So, the first thing is, how much money are you spending on AI tools?
About $120, $130 total a month.
So that's free to AI and ChatGPT.
And ChatGPT, that's it.
Yeah. So this is not an expensive proposition to do.
Not at all.
And in terms of, I think one of the things that's really hard is that it feels intimidating, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you go in and you say, this is sort of sales and marketing you're creating. You go in and you say, well, create a sales email, or no, let's do it differently. Let's create a Facebook post for me to promote my community. And it prints out something and it's not very good. And you go, that's not very good. This doesn't seem right. How did you get past that sort of simple to the more complex?
Just time, trial and error, just working with it, familiarizing myself, understanding that AI is here to help me, my friend. And I speak about it in terms of relationship, because I have a relationship with AI, because it's trainable. You forget, once you start using it, after a while, you forget that it's actually a program, even though it is. a system. However, because of the interaction and because you start to use real language, just like you and I are speaking, Steve, you use it the same way. And so the more you use it, the better you get at it. You learn how to use the prompts. You learn how to speak to it to generate the information that you want and to get it to do what you want it to do. And the entire time, let's say you're a novice, you're just learning, you're training it along the way. As you're learning, the bot is learning as well.
Yeah. So it's an interactive okay, I got to ask. Do you say please and thank you to it?
I do.
Me too.
You too. Okay.
Me too.
I do. I tell them I say you did a good job. I thank you. I appreciate you so much. I do. Because I really do. And that helps me. It helps me in my engagement. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that again, I know so first off, I've talked to a lot of operators who are using AI. I have talked to a few operators who don't really think it's a thing, because what the reason for that is they say it sort of takes the humanness out of it. But my argument, and as you and I have talked about this before, I think your argument is that you use AI to do the boring, yucky stuff, so you have more time to spend with residents and with your team members, and so and that makes it better for everybody.
Absolutely, and I think using that language as well helps you to be more comfortable in engaging. And with AI is that you become it's a friendly interaction. And so you're more, you will use it more often and you feel more comfortable, right? So that's important too.
Yeah. And the other thing I would just say for people, I've only played with it once. In fact, I'm hoping over this weekend to do a little bit more with it. If you have a paid subscription to ChatGPT and you're using the app, it doesn't work on the laptop or the web-based, but if you're using an app, you can actually have a conversation with ChatGPT. You can ask it things, and it'll talk back to you. When I used it a few weeks ago, it was really slow, but I talked to somebody who I'm going to have come speak, who's outside the industry, and he told me I need to go back and look at it. He says it's just gotten a ton better. They did a major update in the last week or so that it's gotten better. And that's the other thing. It's like every week it just gets better.
It does. It does.
Yeah. So all I can say is that you should be at the Foresight AI Labs.
Yes.
If you come, it will save you. Even if you're an expert in it, I've never talked to anybody who's an expert in using it in every way. You honestly are probably using it for more things than anybody I've talked to, including big enterprise organizations. But there's still stuff you'll learn so much from other things that other people where you're doing, where you're going to go, oh man, I never thought about that. Oh, I can do that. And so this is going to be a community of people who've done experiments already, who are sharing those experiments, who are going to keep you from having to start from scratch. You need to be there. Mo's presentation will be mind-boggling. She's actually going to teach you stuff. You'll be able to you'll know exactly how to do this. You will probably get these bots available to you there. And so, Mo, we are out of time. I'm done. I need to shut up.
Okay.
Because I'm with you, I get so excited about this. So with that, thank you very much. Next week, we got another great show for you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Foresight AI Lab. Remember, we're capping this at just right at 200 people. So if you don't get your tickets right now, you may not get to go, and you're going to be crying.
Absolutely.
Thanks.